Welcome to the Queen Divas, Queens of Fitness podcast. Join your hosts, three-time WBFF world champions and WBFF royalty, Alicia Gowans and Stephanie Ayala McHugh, as we explore all things female health, training, competing, mindset, and living the fitness life every day.
Super excited to be back online today, recording the latest episode of Queen Divas podcast with my girl, Stephanie Ayala McHugh.
Hello, everyone.
I don't know about you, but we're literally getting flooded here. Have you been watching anything? Do you get the news on our weather? Because
not your weather, just more, I guess, like it sucks that social media does this. Not just social, but just media in general. We only see the bad stuff, right? We don't see like the good things or like just your weather. So catch me up. How's the weather over there? What's going on?
Like hectic weather, babe. It's like, you know, that we've talked about this in other episodes, that La Nina or whatever it is, the term.
La Nina. Okay.
The term for the changing, the cooler, more wet, year that we're meant to have, right? Wow.
Over here, we think of a hurricane when we say like La Nina or something. We were thinking of hurricane season.
Even in my own house right now, the pool is literally about to overflow. Like all of our.
So you guys are just having flow of rain, lots of rain.
We had in one area mainly in Southeast Queensland, it's like we're getting this big dump, but we've been going for like a couple of weeks of this, right? And they've just said that they think we're going to have like 2 to 3 more months of this really wet weather, this isn't common. This is not normal for us. Like we're coming out of a wet season and we're coming into our dry season usually around now. Mm-hmm. We're just getting dumped. Like we had one area of where we're located that had a whole month's supply, 1 month, 4 weeks
of rain,
supply of rain in 1 hour.
Oh my God. Okay. So it's not just you guys, because this was the rainiest, I think, season for us, like even during the winter, because you guys are obviously entering, I guess, your fall, right? Like you guys are about to enter your fall, end of summer, going into fall, right? So for us, like during this winter, it was so rainy versus
Carry on.
Sorry, I guess we can cut that out for a quick second. We'll cut that out for a quick second. Sorry. Okay, so we'll go off of all right, the topic.
The weather.
The weather. Okay. So over here, we actually have a little of a different weather. We're also into winter, so it's just been a lot rainier this winter. But at the same time, with that rain, has came a lot of ice as it gets cooler. So if it drops below freezing, all this rain has been freezing over. And for us, that's just not good here in Texas because the roads get icy. Like right now, we've actually been dealing with a lot of that type of weather. So very different from what you guys have been dealing with as far as,
we've had flash flooding. There's been people dying in the flash.
Oh,
flood.
shit.
Carried away. That's what I mean. Like
Are you kidding me?
This is hectic, babe. Like we've got
dying.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We've got 3 sort of big city regional areas that are all underwater at the moment.
Like I'm assuming like Gold Coast, like the coast.
No,
cities.
not down there at all. A little bit further north. So thinking like just above Sunshine Coast, so the other side.
That coast.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow, that's crazy. This weather worldwide has been nuts. Like
it kind of makes you go, different. What's happening to the planet? You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I think. Like, oh my goodness, things are just changing. Climate is changing. Obviously, you're in summer, we're in winter. We had the warmest winter, and then led into like a whole bunch of rain. And you guys are dealing with.
And we had this really random cooler summer. So, which like you've been here in summer, it's hectic. So we've been, we've had some mornings in the middle of summer. You
guys are actually the most comparable thing I can say to Texas, honestly. Like Australia is probably the closest thing I could feel to Texas heat.
It really is. And we had mornings in the middle of summer where we're getting up to do our bike ride for coffee and throwing on like a long sleeve. First thing in the morning.
You guys have been cooler. Real cool.
Yeah, crazy.
That's like California weather. That's like really nice. Cool, cool mornings, cool evenings, but nice little warm days. That's usually a California type of vibe.
So we've had this crazy weather. Outside of that, though, everything here has been pretty awesome. Nice. So good to hear that we're not the only ones that have had strange shit.
Nah, you guys are not the only ones dealing with this crazy, like not like normal type of weather during the season. So same thing here in the States. It's been crazy all over. Some people that are in the north are getting some like nice little like rising heats. And it's like, what? Out of nowhere in February for us? Like, that's ridiculous. Like we expect, like this is last year, we had the snowstorm in February. So we kind of do expect for us to get a little colder here in Texas, but we got snow again. We did. We got a little extra snow, but it's just a flash. It was like quick, gone, and then immediately melted. So we've been dealing with just cold. I'm really excited for spring. We get daylight savings, so we actually get to go forward in time, which allows us to have longer days, which I'm really looking forward to.
So we don't ever have daylight savings in Queensland because we're already in the blazing sun. Like we get the early mornings, we get the long days, so we don't ever have it.
Oh, y'all's early mornings are just majestic. You guys so good, right? Have the most probably beautiful sunrises in the world. If anyone ever knows Australia or been there, you guys are like literally pivoted in the perfect position to watch that sunrise. It's amazing.
Got some gorgeous, we do have some gorgeous mornings and some great evenings actually too. But on that note, I'm looking forward to winter coming because as we were talking about offline and I keep telling you,
got a little extra cushion.
We've got to go to the Fat Girl shop which is AKA
we've been digging a hole, of extra little body fat.
We literally need to go. And I'm like starting to get big now. So I don't want to be carrying that and be in the heat, man. There is nothing worse than
being hot and sweaty and extra body fat
and you're like and it's hot, you're sweating between places that you really shouldn't ever have liquid, like it's not great. It's not great.
I feel you.
So I'm really happy about this concept of being able to like layer the belly and just
so you're looking forward to the layering, while all I've been doing these last few weeks is layering after layer after layer. I literally have lived in layers these last few weeks. It's been awesome. It's been amazing. Like so many clients, like I think this could relate to so many of you that are listening, because we actually try to dictate our progress off of our clothes, which is ridiculous because there's really no size that should fit everybody, right? So we always try to say, oh, these clothes fit better. That's awesome. That's a good cue from your current state. But when you're growing, it actually goes a little opposite. You actually think like, my clothes do not fit me anymore. And you're thinking like, holy shit, I'm like getting fat. I'm like growing to the point where I feel uncomfortable. But in reality, all you're doing is growing glutes and growing some like good quads, maybe some more muscle, and you're masking your growth with the size, because you're not a size 1 or a size 2 or 4. My God.
Like can be said for not just the size in the clothes, but it's the scale weight, where they get that.
Oh, exactly.
Like, oh, well, I weigh more, so therefore I'm going backwards. And I'm like,
you feel sabotaged.
You're not. Progressing. It's the development of mass, right?
With growth comes water, comes a little body fat, right? More muscle mass, which skews that weight.
More food content.
More food.
Higher gastrointestinal, volume. You're actually, digestively might be holding on to something for a little bit longer. So you've got stuff in the bowels. Like there are so many things. And I think that the error people make is they go, oh crap, that's a bit firm. I'm going to pull back. I'm going to self-restrict here because I think I'm getting fat. And then they just cut into all their propensity to change, right?
Exactly what I was going to say. They stop their growth.
I have this athlete at the moment, right? She's about to get on stage in April, and she looks ridiculous, like phenomenal. I'm so pumped for her. Now, we were initially prepping. Our very first show we were prepping for was actually the New Zealand show last year that got canned. Now,
so she's been in prep.
So she's been in prep, like she was in prep for a while, right? And we did a little bit of an initial, increase in caloric intake, bringing into a higher baseline and getting her primed for a cut for her first show. But it was only a small amount of time because the time frame from when we started to the date was small. We made a little bit of improvement, but obviously not as much as we could with a little bit more time and a little bit more capacity for, you know, that increase, you know, with in the gym. So interestingly enough, what I love most about her is she's a phenomenal athlete. She's someone that I didn't even have to challenge. She didn't challenge me. I didn't have to debate the reasons why.
I love that about her.
Oh, she was phenomenal. She was freaking phenomenal. She just went
go-getters. They go the extra mile.
Yeah, I will hit what you give me. I'll do it. Whatever. Yeah, like she was awesome. So anyway, to put it into perspective, this chick pushed calories. We push calories up to, and this is not for everyone. I don't want anyone to listen to this and go, oh, well, I should be able to do that, because you probably won't be able to. This chick's quite tall for starters. Like there's a whole bunch of factors as to why we could go where we did. But we went up to 3,500 calories, right?
Nice. Well, for someone tall, that's reasonable.
Exactly. But she never once questioned the fact that this was going to be worth it. And she did get you know, a couple of little periods of discomfort. Amazing. In the sense of shit, I'm growing out of things. But what was good about her was she just turned it around. We had really funny conversations where she's like, man, I'm pushing out of my clothes because I'm too full of awesome, you know, like everything's too awesome. Like you can't contain me, It's like we have funny conversations. Now we did nearly, it was nearly a year, right? Once we reversed up and out and we've pushed these boundaries and she's done this growth. We are cutting in for this next stage. And I swear to God, like if you look at her same time out from the first prep for New Zealand versus now, and this is a natural athlete. And if you look at her, you would probably be like, this has got to be a few years in between, or she's seriously probably got to be taking gear. And she's definitely fucking not. So my point is, if you are,
she listened, she obviously really trusted you. She allowed the calories to go up. She embraced the process of growing.
She actually herself. She didn't go, hey, I don't like this, or I don't have abs, or oh my God, you know, I've got to go up a size here. She just basically did what I'm doing with the big pregnant belly, and that's living in stretchy everything.
My favorite though.
It's incredible, right? And you know this, Steph, our best years of development from one stage to the next is where we've actually not overcommitted to too many photo shoots, overcommitted to too many reasons to stay lean, and instead we've embraced the merves, the muscly curves that come from putting on a bit of size in the off season. And yeah, okay, we're going to be pushing maximum intensity in all of our tight shit, but when we get to the next stage, holy wow, the improvements we bring to glutes, to legs, to literally every element of the body that creates the shape we need for the
above and beyond,
for the champion level, that's there. And if we didn't do that, we won't get it. You know, the interesting thing, this same girl,
100.
I've got another girl who's incredible, has a lot of potential, had a lot of mental hang-ups around letting go of scales, letting go of abs, and just settling
muscle tone.
Correct, right? She really struggled with it.
Which is normal. This is normal. Hey, everyone that's listening to this is very normal. I think this is more normal than probably weight loss. I think most of us who get to a certain level are going to want to not lose it, and it is fearful to lose any of the muscle tone or any of the progress you've gained, because you think you're going to sabotage all of that hard work.
Don't sabotage.
No, by no means.
Actually progress further. So her ability to progress has been significantly diminished compared to client A. So client B has had maybe 20% of the gain that client A got. It's crazy.
But there goes someone that's thinking about the program versus one that's just allowing the program to help them, right? Versus, am I doing too much? Am I overdoing this? Am I like not doing enough? And you really overthink about your programming, and you should let your coach do that all the time. Anyone that's listening to this, you really need to relieve that stress and just do it.
Correct.
Give it a try.
I think talk through the reasons why something might be mentally holding you back, because realistically, no one who loves you and no one who matters and no one in the judging panel is going to care what size pant you were in your off season or what you weigh on stage.
And guess what? Everyone looks different at every size. Right. Because if someone's 6 foot tall, right, like versus 5 foot tall, which is very big difference, like we're talking about centimeters here. It's like over 100 centimeters.
So in other words, a short midget like me versus. Yeah,
like, okay. Exactly. That's actually kind of my analogy here. Okay. Like us short girls.
Normal woman.
The tall girls. I mean, we cannot not only just compare just calories, but we also have to realize that we're going to be undergoing, yes, a different shape, different genetic background, which it does play a big role whenever we do kind of, look at ourselves, but also our muscle mass, right? Like how much we already had built to the starting point. And if we don't have really much built, we have to understand probably our metabolic response is going to be a lot lower at the beginning whenever we first start, maybe our deficit or our weight loss goal. So when you're comparing to this girl that might have been doing sports her whole life, right? And has had a lot more muscle mass when they started maybe their competitive journey, within competing in bodybuilding, whatever they may be doing, it's probably a lot higher. Maybe they're sitting at 2,500 calories or 3,500 calories, like you said, you worked up a client to, but their size, their, ability to obviously carry more muscle is also greater. It plays a big role. Like us shorter girls only have a certain amount of space and amount of, muscle we can build.
As you actually grow in your off season, you feel a little bit like,
we feel pudgy. We feel a little extra, this is actually what Ali and I were talking about before we were starting this episode, was like how like extra body fat we're carrying, and she feels, she's carrying more weight. Obviously you're building a body and other life inside of you.
I have a purpose.
I have a purpose, but not to the extent Ali has. I mean, she's trying to build another person inside of her. I'm just trying to build more muscle. So I'm just trying to, actually go into an adequate amount of a surplus, because the last couple of years, like we've discussed in the podcast before, is that, I had to be in maintenance for quite a while because I wasn't sure, when the shows were, the canceling of the shows during COVID. And then last year, I really wasn't able to go into a massive build because I was already so close to the show. So it was really more about just bringing what I had. And if we really talk about being, satisfied with the package, I think this can be relatable to everyone that's competitive. Like you're never really 100% satisfied. You're happy, but you're maybe not like to the extent of like, oh, nailed it. I'm like, I want more.
I could do better here.
I could do better. I could have done this more. I could have, obviously like brought this in better. So thinking of what I want to improve, there's so many things that I knew I wanted to improve, and I needed to go into a deep building phase that allowed me to actually develop these areas. And I haven't been in it for the last few years. So, well, at least for the last 2.5 years, I would say I've been just kind of, like I said, isolating muscles, maintaining, kind of staying a little above maintenance.
I'm pumped for your off-season photo shoots, because
they're coming.
For those people that haven't yet witnessed Steph in an actual all-out guns blazing proper, she's growing. She gets she for the first time and only time in her life, she gets just a little softer in the midsection, but she's like me.
I lose those abs, y'all. If you guys get fearful,
right? But I love your off-season shape.
Thank you, Ali.
You look like a boss bitch who lifts like an absolute badass.
We're always aiming to be a boss bitch, okay? Like that's always the goal, okay? No matter what time of the year.
Nothing sloppy about your off seasons, and I think that's commendable, because that's a true sign of an actual athlete too, someone that's able to tackle the growth phase, but with a considered and strategic approach, right? Because gains phase don't need to be beefy, bullshit eating crap type.
That dirty bulk that a lot of competitors will do, which is a no, y'all. Like you using it as an excuse just because you're building. I'm putting my quotations up here in my fingers. Like your building is not going to give you a good build. Okay, you're gonna gain a lot more excessive body fat than it's needed. You need to focus on
when you cut. What's the conversation everyone has? My ass is gone.
My ass is leaving. I have no more glutes. Hey, I used to say that all the time, Ali. Like my first few years, I'm like, my ass left.
Padding than you needed. And it probably wasn't all glutes, love.
It's a lot of little extra pushing, okay, for that
Just
cushion.
had a little floaty.
Got it, right? So what I would really recommend for anybody in the growth phase right now, because I relate to you right now, like I've had to size up all my clothes, like talk about making you feel fat. Oh my God, my prep clothes. If I try to put on a pair of shorts that I wore during prep, I feel like a little extra thick, not just thick, Allie. Like I feel like I did a little too much damage during my building phase. But in reality, clothes shouldn't define you. They should not let you dictate your progress. It actually excites me. If I'm not fitting in clothes now during a building phase, I'm like, hell yeah, my shit's working, right? Like I'm actually building, I'm growing, my glutes are getting bigger. Yes, there's a little bit of body fat coming into the midst of this.
Yeah,
this
but that comes off so much faster with more mass. This is the other thing. It's like taking the same vehicle, same chassis, but putting a V8 engine into it as opposed to you are literally going to burn your whole tank of fuel getting from one end of your street to the other in a V8 versus running from here to the other side of Texas, you know, in your 4-cylinder. Like what's the
I was going to say a little V4, you know, saving that gas. And for sure.
Crazy. You know, and it's even like, I say this to my athletes all the time. You should not look at last prep to this prep and go, I weighed this at this point, because if you are not weighing more every single season,
you're not growing, you're not improving,
you will not win shit. End of story. Yep. So, you know, your focus should be, am I progressing because
in your pictures?
Yes, I'm developing your mass, it's shapely, it's not sloppy. And if I'm increasing in size in clothes, so be it.
It's a great sign.
Yeah,
God, I go hooray every time I know I have to size up. And this is actually something I just had to do a couple weeks back because I was like really feeling uncomfortable in a lot of the clothes that I was wearing because they were just my normal. And what I mean by normal, it's like maybe 60 to 70% of my year, I'm in those clothes, but there's this fraction, maybe like about 30, maybe plus, you know, during my building phase. And I really like to consider it more of an improvement phase because all I'm really trying to do is improve. I'm not just trying to build and add on more mass generally, because I think in mass, adding on could be like accumulated with fat, which is kind of where that dirty bulking kind of mindset comes from. You know, you're mass, so you think you're actually gaining, you know, muscle. When I'm like, reality, I'm like, guys, you're just gaining a little fat. You're not really gaining muscle. You know, but if you really think of this 30%, you know, season, it's a season. It's a season where I'm able to, you know, fluff up a little bit. And of course, most people would love for it to be more in the holidays, more in like the winter side, but sometimes it's opposite.
It doesn't always work like that. Exactly. If your stage is not at the right time for that, you can't.
It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Exactly. So you kind of gotta go with the season. Exactly. That's kind of where I'm getting at. I'm lucky that at the moment it's falling in this season for me, which is the winter, when I get to, you know, jacket up, sweater up, and layer up a lot. But during the summer, like that's usually not the case. So again, like knowing your season, knowing when your foundation is continuously getting improved, you have to understand that clothes are going to get a little bigger. You should size up. You should actually up on some new clothes. That's what I just did. Like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, okay, these pants, they aren't working for me right now. They're making me feel a little extra. My glutes are feeling like they're just squished. Like literally, when pants make you like mold to them, you gotta size up, honey. Like that is just the time that you gotta go up in like the size, and don't let that size make you feel lesser, meaning only because it's a large, it's going to make you feel that you're large. No, you're not large. You have more muscle. Okay.
You're large and in charge. Large and in charge. Exactly. It's totally different when you reframe it like that, right?
Oh yeah.
I totally understand. I totally understand. And like, I always have had, you know, clothes for me that are, I've got the things that I wear when I'm sort of in the prep phase to stage. So I'm not quite at my stage, but I'm in the mid. And then I have my things that are right around stage. Then I have my things that are just my comfortable when I've got my nerves. I still roll around in booty shorts, even though I've got shit hanging out and I'm full as
hell. Yes, mama. That's amazing.
Like a little German tank when I've been training and everything's popping, swollen, your butt's hanging out.
The best, though.
It is.
You feel good, and you feel
the only thing I change.
airy.
Exactly. The only thing I change is the the style of the booty short doesn't have an elastic band at the top. It's got like more of a fabric band, so it stretches as
more flexible.
That's
more
it.
flexible
But
to
like,
you.
I don't deny myself in the middle of summer where I'm hot the ability to wear something that's comfortable. And yet I see women that are like, oh no, I've got to hide all of this stuff. I'm going, why? Who says? I mean,
no, there should be no label. I think we all label ourselves or what society or what we think should be, within the line. And everyone should really be within comfort. Number one, if you're not comfortable and those clothes don't make you feel comfortable, please resize your wardrobe, reconsider your wardrobe, whatever is making you feel lesser. If those little booty shorts are making you feel fat, then get some bigger booty shorts, because the booty shorts aren't the problem. It's the fact that they're maybe, like she said, has maybe a very tight elastic band that are making you feel very tight and have that little extra, little cushion on the side that make us feel like that. But in reality, if you go a size that is not so, constituent, like it's so like tight, it actually allows you to mold to your body. I feel like clothes that mold to your body rather than you molding to the clothes makes a huge difference, which is actually, like I said, I was doing these last few weeks because I felt like I needed to reconsider the wardrobe I had because I was starting to feel uncomfortable. So if you are in that stage when you're growing, know that it's a good plus. It's actually something that is helping you. You're in a good state whenever you're having to size up. It's a good sign for me. So I'm like excited. And make sure you rotate through these clothes, right? Like you're having those seasons, like Ali said, you have like 3 types of seasons. You have your prep season if you're, a competitor. If you're not, maybe you're going into the summer. You want to kind of do a lean out phase. You're most likely going to be having different clothes, obviously hotter clothes versus the colder clothes. So I find that also helps us tremendously when we kind of associate our seasons with our body and kind of when they're growing and not sabotaging our growth, but making us think that we're actually gaining too much weight. Weight is naturally supposed to go up, people. Okay. If you are growing, you're supposed to gain weight. Exactly. I don't understand when they're like, the weight just keeps going up.
I think what sucks is that, and this is me being brutally honest here, what sucks is that you have a lot of these high level, high profile influencers that are constantly posting my stats, my weight, my calories, right? And they don't talk about these things. They don't talk about the fact that, hey, I'm okay with weighing more at this point. And a lot of times I think they're not fucking honest. I think they flat out freaking lie about what they're eating and what they weigh. I'm like looking at this bitch going, there's no way. I weigh that in my right freaking quad, darling. There's no way you weigh that right now. Shut the fuck up. But in all seriousness though, I hate it because it leads young, impressionable and or slightly distorted mindsets astray, and it really embeds in them this feeling of lack of, less than, not good enough, like not achieving. They hold themselves back and prevent themselves from reaching their potential, like I've watched my client B do, hold herself back from fear of a space she's not sat in, stereotypical stigma of Instagram pushing her to feel like she has to look a certain way, be a certain way, eat a certain point, weigh a certain amount, like
numbers. What you're saying is all numbers, right?
These bitches, like, stop it, unfollow them right now.
They're focused so much on these numbers of what they've read and what they've seen and what I have to stay within. And this is what, obviously science said. Well, let me tell you, science says a lot, but it comes down to what you feel at the end of the day and what works for you. And if what you're seeing and doing on social media or reading in research papers, and it's making you, restrict to certain numbers because you think that you're supposed to be at a certain BMI, a certain body fat, at a certain weight, because so-and-so is at certain calories. Again, these all goes down to numbers. And we're so focused on these things that we just forget that it's all about our performance and our feeling that should matter, number one. And secondly, should be our physique. And our physique really does reflect our stressors, our phase, meaning if we're in a surplus or if we're in a deficit, if we're maintaining, it does reflect it. But we have to understand too what we're doing to actually achieve these goals. And when we're trying to do both, I think this is what we've talked about before. We cannot say, I'm going to grow, but I'm also going to lean out. Like, come on, realistically, that's not going to happen. Like, it's just not.
I'm a prime example of this right now, where I'm super focused on having the healthiest baby with the most, I'm doing everything right. Like I'm anal. You know that I would be this person. I'm going to become the champion of pregnancy, right? So I'm watching my micronutrients down to the gram.
I know you're in numbers, babe. That's what
all of my days are like, structured so that he hits, and it's all about him. It's him getting, It's not about me. Like when I start talking about food, I always say to Christos, I need this and this and this. In my next meal, I've gone short because, Bob needs it. Little friend needs it. Like that's how all of our conversations like that. And even if I know I've missed something, Christos will turn around and be like, you've got to eat this now because little friend is needing this. And I'm like, it's good that we have that viewpoint. However, interesting fact, I am also though, and I've talked about this on my socials for anyone that's, listening to this that follows me knows, I'm prepping. So I'm actually prepping for the Atlantic City show. That will be my comeback. Bob will be just over 6 months old. And that's fine. I've done this before. So for everyone listening to this, I'm not doing anything that is compromising him, his health. In fact, he's a very big baby. He weighs about 80 grams more than they normally do at this point. This is ample, obvious evidence here that I'm feeding him.
He's a healthy baby.
He's a week and a half ahead of schedule. He's going to be massive. I'm terrified. I'm glad it's not going to be a vaginal birth. I'd cry.
Oh, it's all Christos. It's all Christos.
It is definitely him because I'm a mushroom who struggles to put deep size on.
It's awesome, though, you guys.
But my point is this. I'm doing everything right by the baby. I'm also very focused, though, because of my prep, at not putting on excessive levels of body fat. However, the irony of this is I'm also trying to grow a little bit of mass during my pregnancy to set me up for post-Bob.
Love it.
But then the cut phase happens. So I've got an incredible team of specialists that I'm working with. And I can assure you, and for everyone listening to this, I hope they take something out of this. I am currently, let's put this in perspective. I'm currently 3 kilos heavier than I was at 9 months pregnant with my daughter currently. Okay. And I'm only just over halfway with my son, right?
So you're still going to get,
I'm going to get big. So is it fair to say that if I was one of these crazies where I was only focused on the scales, that I would probably freak out, I would probably restrict, I would deny my son what he needs?
You would absolutely. You start starving yourself. You'd actually start.
So what happens in that instance is the baby will still take what it needs, so then it takes it from me. So then I would have issues with bone mineral density. I would have issues with calcium. My teeth would have having issues. I would have hormonal issues when I come out the other side. I'd lose all my muscle. So is it worth me worrying about what clothes size I'm in?
Eat that shit up, girl. You got a better fucking eat.
Worrying about a little bit of cellulite. Thanks, IVF. Fucking cheers. No, it's not. Because what's worth worrying about is, am I consuming enough to make sure that he's adequately fueled, that I'm adequately fueled for what the little parasite's taking out of me, because he is. And then am I also giving myself the best chance possible for a prep directly after he comes out? Absolutely. I'm doing it. Yeah.
You are a machine, woman. Let me tell you, like, women, if you're listening to this and you are pregnant,
everyone
you need to be inspired at this moment. If you don't hear this woman saying that she's already in prep, number one, she just said, this woman's in prep and she's pregnant. Okay. So she's saying she's in prep and she is still not giving birth to her child, and she is already thinking of how much muscle she has to put on 100%. And to not be any muscle sacrifice during the pregnancy. Do you understand that she's saying she has to actually get a little more uncomfortable than what she's normally been? 100%. If you guys aren't listening to what we're saying over here, I want you to hear that again. She is getting beyond uncomfortable. It's not just uncomfortable like I'm being at the moment. Like I'm uncomfortable. Like I am uncomfortable, but
it's like
I know what comes with this.
My organs in my throat uncomfortable, like that level uncomfortable, right? I'm talking like pushing so much weight in the pelvic girdle that it's aching.
Oh, man. Well, that comes with it though, like with the excess.
That's what's coming.
Yeah, that one I think we all can like understand. It's natural for that push, and obviously pelvic.
But I can tell you now. Look. Am I worried about this? No. Knowing what I know and knowing what I have to do to gain the little bit of muscle, to caveat this, I lost muscle in my IVF process because if you
couldn't train.
know anything, if you know anything at all about the process and what you go through, it's literally, I went back-to-back months for nearly a year of drug cycle after drug cycle, surgery after surgery. I was impeded in my ability to train. I had an injury at the same time. Your estradiol levels usually that are very high for a woman, where it's like considered too high, are at 800. Mine sat between 18,000 and 22,000 every single month. My natural test levels super low during this time, right? So even now, because test isn't a super important part of this process, they're not sitting very high. So I really, really, really need to be focused on the fuel I put into my body, and that I'm not under eating, and I'm definitely not overtraining. I've got the right amount of workload to try to recoup and recover some of the lost mass from the IVF process, and then try to develop a little bit more shape. Because look, it's not going to be, you know, like I won't be coming in hard and hot like I would have done a year and a half ago. But
Allie, you're gonna come in.
I will still come in for that crown. Don't fucking worry.
Y'all just wait. This woman's a machine.
I will still be coming for that crown. Don't you worry.
Actual machine. She came from a back surgery and was still able to come back and like win a crown. So just saying.
The next crown, I will be looking fierce. Let me tell you that.
She looks fierce every time. I don't know what she's talking about, but what I am trying to get to the fact is that she is not just getting uncomfortable, but she's actually in a place where she is trying to push her body. And this is our whole topic today, is like, we're trying to push our bodies. Hers is a different journey. She's trying to, you know, obviously give life to another baby, grow another, you know, life inside of her. In my case, I'm just trying to grow life into my muscles. Okay. I'm just trying to grow a little more growth into some of these glutes and quads back, because over the last few years, I had a lot of imbalances within my physique. I had more quads and hamstrings and glutes, you know, more traps than lats, like couple imbalances like that. And when we think of that, when we're trying to balance out the physique, it takes time. It doesn't just happen over the course of 3 months or 6 months that your body starts shifting that muscle mass over to the areas to make it more balanced. So for me, it's just been a long journey since I started with the WBFF, trying to shift some of these muscle groups over to other ones to be more balanced and more, have more symmetry.
You know what's good about you though, Steph, is that, and this is the way a champion thinks, they don't just go and go, oh, I really
get bigger.
I'm just going to go train that. And they don't just go, I just need to be massive. I'm just going to go take all the drugs and pump all the shit and get.
That's what normally everybody does.
Yeah, that's what everyone does immediately. That's the immediate go-to. And really,
they just think big. Like they try to be the biggest. Yeah, I can understand that. I get
but you
that.
want to be finessed. It's not. Especially women listening to this that want to aim for the fitness category. The fitness category isn't the biggest, most massive pitch on stage. It's not.
Never meet me, just so you ever, if anyone that knows me, I'm actually not a big person.
And it's actually about having
muscle density. It's like more
proportioned, dense and conditioned structure.
Athletic,
not necessarily massive. You know, it's one thing that most people say when they meet me, especially when I'm coming in close to a stage, is, oh my God, you're so much smaller than I thought you'd be. And I'm like, mate, I still look jacked. Don't tell me that.
So many people say that. They're like, oh my God, you're a lot shorter than I thought you were. And or they're like, you're a lot smaller. Or like, they're like, I'm like, yeah, I'm a shorty. Yeah, I'm small. Yeah, I'm not like 5 foot, you know, but I'm not 6 foot and I'm not 5'7". Okay, for example, like let's put it a comparison just so everyone in Australia can understand maybe my height. I'm not like Lauren Simpson and Rachel Dillon. Like they're tall girls. I'm more like Hattie Boydell. Let's put it that way. Like Hattie and I are actually just on the same height.
Are all literally
height. We're the same height. So if you guys want comparison out there for y'all listening, you know,
but we're not Amy Rebecca, she's blessed her. She's
okay. So she's 5 foot. She's 5 foot. So anyone that knows my client Amy, she's Amy Rosato, Amy Rebecca, however you know her as, she's 5 foot. So she is 4 inches, or I guess a few centimeters way below.
I've got an athlete who's 2 inches shorter than Amy. How crazy!
Wait, is it okay? So your girl Kayla's pretty short too.
Yeah, she's pretty short, but she's still taller than Amy. But yeah, she's pretty short too.
Okay, look, for any of you girls that are short like them, Look, I feel for you, not to the extent to where we're at, but we're not tall. Like, let's say a Lauren or like a Rachel. Again, you guys may not look at these girls as tall on social media. I know I never did. I never did. Like, I just thought
you said next to one of them and you're like,
until you meet them and you meet them in person and you're like neck up. I'm like, oh shit, you're tall. You're really a lot bigger than I am. Your hips are like twice as big as mine, you know? And that just lets you know the perspective as far as how genetics and obviously muscle lays very differently on different heights. You cannot compare, and you cannot really allow yourself to think that a weight or a number during your building phase is going to dictate how you're going to end up looking when you actually lean out. So I can never put myself in a situation where I'm thinking like in my builds, I'm like going to be like, oh, I'm going too far. I'm going too far. I already know that's only going to allow me to look better when I lean out.
100%. And so you shouldn't look, this is always my take home. You shouldn't look at a last prep and then this prep and going, at this point, I was at this point on the scales, because it's irrelevant. It doesn't factor in composition. You should only ever look at each prep. What is my composition currently? Where am I at body fat wise at the moment? What do we got to bring it in by? Right?
Yes, exactly.
That's how you want to analyze it. And realistically, if you are gaining and you are coming in with a little bit more, you know, on the scale, a little bit more size on you, you're winning already. Like you've already won.
Don't let it get you down. I feel like so many people look at it and like they feel like a failure because they're bigger or they're having more, you know, size in their clothes, or I had to go to a medium. You know, I went from a small to a medium. How many times I get that and I get really upset because that to me lets me know that their mindset isn't where it needs to be, right? Like
and that's
their mindset struck on numbers and not on growth, right? Growth would come from you actually realizing your muscles dimensionally getting bigger, not just thinking a size like a 00 or a small makes you actually small. Like, come on, like you will appear so much better.
I always say this: would you rather be a certain scale weight and be skinny fat, or would you rather weigh a little bit more and be fucking
toned and like good, nice
and firm and crack a walnut on your fucking ass cheek? Because I know what I know what I
give me
crack
the
a
biggest
walnut
weight
any day.
Yes, give me the biggest weight. I'd rather be the heaviest weight you could possibly ever guess on me. It's so funny when people like look at me and they're like, "Oh, you weigh this," and I tell them what I weigh, and they're like, "Oh no, what you weigh that?"
Yeah,
like they because they expect me to weigh heavier, or they expect me. Or okay, for example, I've obviously met so many different influencers, and when you meet them, they ask you your weight, or because they look at your size. And it's look, I don't mind. I don't care. I'll share my weight with anybody. I don't mind. But when they ask you and then they like get baffled because we weigh the same, right? We'll weigh the same.
But they don't look.
They don't have any muscle on them, right?
Exactly.
They don't really have muscle, and it's like I have muscle and they don't, and it's like wait, we weigh the same. I'm like, yeah, we weigh the same. It doesn't matter. Like number is not going to
lifting and eating like crazy, right? So even listening to this, you can hear Steph doesn't get caught up on the fact that she should be weighing what she weighed last time, that she's letting go of a clothing size. You're listening to me talk about the fact that, I'm in a much different position at halfway through this pregnancy than I was at the end of my last, but I gained, I've gained muscle between having my daughter 10 years ago and now. So my composition at my starting point was different. Fair enough. The IVF made it not my
different process,
but it was still more muscle, even at a compromised start point compared to pre-IVF. I still had more muscle than I did when I went in.
So you could have easily been like skewed in your mindset, and you would have been like, "Oh my god, I'm a fucking failure." Yeah.
God, I could have gone into like a prenatal depression. I could have,
of course.
I could have set myself up for postnatal depression, post-bub. Like I don't have any of that, and I'm super.
But thankfully, you're aware and you know 100%. What really is happening, and that's where I feel like so many people are not aware of what's actually happening with themselves. Even though they're progressing, they call it as like a thing that's wrong, right? Like something is wrong, and it's like, wait, but you're doing everything right? And these numbers going up don't really say you're going wrong, even though in your head you think up means bad. Up doesn't always mean bad, right? Like you have to just understand that growth comes with getting getting up in higher numbers.
Yeah.
These numbers are letting you know a trend. I love numbers for the statistic reason that you understand what phase you went and underwent, right? Like what you're doing, what was your peak, what was your climax. So like for me, this is my climax. I'm not gonna lie, like this is probably the most I'm gonna push, because this is like the most uncomfortable, not just the way I feel, but in metrics wise and all of my previous stats and things, like, yeah, it's probably pushing the biggest threshold I've probably pushed in the last few years, which again excites me because I know I've grown.
You're gonna come out
those previous ones.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, damn, another inch. I'm like, an inch bigger than before. I'm like, okay.
I haven't seen this muscle before. Where'd this one come from?
Yeah, I don't carry this amount of body fat the way I do now. So I'm very happy about that. I'm like, I'm carrying it better. I don't feel like it's all in my midsection like it normally would have been in the past. It's distributed much more balancedly. Like I feel better. My performance is still through the roof. Of course, with a little extra body fat, I think we all can relate to a little bit more mind fucking games. And I mean that in the best way. Like it just is natural. We look at ourselves differently. We're just like, oh man, I'm fat in these clothes. So again, please reassess your wardrobe. Please reassess kind of maybe the things you're wearing, you're selecting, and have a seasonal wardrobe, because this helps me tremendously when I go into a competition or leaning out summer or whatever. I'm going to want to show maybe myself off a little bit more, but these clothes are not going to fit me as well. So maybe I need to pull out the clothes that are smaller, versus when I start getting a little bigger, I shouldn't self-sabotage thinking like, oh man, I'm just doing everything wrong and I'm growing in the wrong places. I need to just kind of like pull out those winter clothes for me. And in your case, maybe, like a different
going to my back door shop and buying all my maternity rather than continuing to stretch my clothes to the point where they can't stretch anymore, or stealing all of Christos's, which is what I've been doing.
Ooh, I love that. I love boyfriend or
wearing
men type of clothes.
Shirts.
I've been stealing a lot of his too, so I can relate to that.
And every second day it's, stop going to my wardrobe. Stop.
Yes. He's like, you stole my shorts. And I'm like, yeah, I did.
My comeback is always, it looks better on me anyway. Just saying.
Oh, that's a good comeback.
Pregnant or not.
But so just so you guys all can understand what we're trying to say to you is the fact that clothes and numbers, when we're in a growing phase, should not dictate you or possess you or make you feel lesser. You should really allow yourself to be more aware of what's happening versus making you feel lesser. Okay. Like
I think the key to it is that you stop looking at those and you look at other metrics and numbers that are more important, like performance, like recovery, like energy, libido, like all the mood, all the things that matter and the things that drop when you're not in those spaces. It should be about that. And it should be about strength. Is my strength increasing? Am I progressively in a periodized manner loading, far greater each week or each block? Am I noticing that, movements I found hard ones are like my warm-ups now? Am I noticing that I have more energy? Am I moving more? Am I
flexibility?
Am I being active on my off days because I finally have the mojo to do it? Because all those things decline as you come into a deficit. So, being lean is usually not freaking healthy, and it's also not as much fun. Like you'll soon learn that you have way more fun.
That comes from someone over here that I like really love the lean look, but let me tell you, to keep that lean look and what you have to do to sacrifice your hormonal health, your internal health, everything that comes internally, you are honestly much more just vulnerable with everything.
Miserable.
And you are miserable. You nailed it, Ali. Like that's actually
miserable,
right? Like you should not want to just be there. Get there, get out of there, maybe document it with some photo shoots, some pictures, know that you were a badass bitch to get there, but that's it. Like get yourself out of there, get yourself to a maintenance phase and start trying to build yourself back up, because this is a place where we have to understand the journey is not just about a deficit. It's not just about building either, even though we're in a building phase in the moment. Like she's building a body and also building some muscle. I'm trying to build some muscle. She's building a human, literally. It's more about making sure we find a good maintenance phase. I think that's what is probably more undermined. And I was very more aware of it these last 2 years to be exact, that I was great at being able to be at a maintenance phase, and I didn't self-sabotage. I allowed myself to have a good, healthy balance, but it took me time to get there. And I think a lot of people that tell me like, oh, I wish I can just get to the maintenance phase that you were at. I'm like, look, it took me years to get there. It wasn't just like a 1 year thing or 2 competition thing, like to get to that maintenance phase. I kept going through deficits and then building phases for a minimum of 7 years. And that's just being a little more eye-opening to everyone that's listening that understands, like, I went through a deficit and then a building phase and then a maintenance phase and then another deficit and then another building phase for 7 years. And then I found a place where I was able to maintain. Doesn't mean that you have to take 7 years to get to a maintenance phase. Just understand that if you're trying to get to maybe maintenance, you can maintain longer than you're trying to be in a deficit and building phase. I find that that's probably the most enjoyable, more realistic approach we need to, actually have our life. And we're going to really.
And equally, as we've identified today, mentally challenging. So this is, I guess the take home point of today's conversation is that just don't restrict your potential because of an emotional connection to a number on a scale or a size of clothing or a freaking visible ab. Get rid of the abs, forget about them, and just actually grow your ass.
No abs over here. We're talking all about booty gains on this side.
I've got one big ab. One really big ab.
You got one real big ab. Let's just put it that way. You got one real big ab.
Very funny.
We will keep growing Allie's. Hey, Allie's physique is going to be absolutely something to watch out for when she comes back into the stage. I'm really excited. And for all you pregnant, women out there that are listening to her journey, following her journey, really get motivated by this, because Allie is not someone that's gonna, do a pregnancy just to, make us like an actual statement. She's gonna make a pregnancy to let you know what you're capable of doing.
This is true. Actually, this is very true. And this is not because I think any woman should be pressured to look a certain way in pregnancy, because as you can tell from my conversation, I don't give a flying. You
shouldn't give a fuck about what
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm focused more on the health of the baby and my capacity to actually grow a little bit, right? So am I going to be like some of those goddesses that are all bronzed and sit at the beach all day long and they have these perfect little basketball bellies and no cellulite and they're taking photos everywhere? Fuck no. I don't look like that. And I'm not going to look like that. I don't care. I have a stage to get to after I give birth to a very healthy baby. And, the second part of that is my primary focus, but the stage is always going to be, right behind it. So everything I do has purpose. I've got a great team behind me. I work with, the leading women's health and physio. You know her. We've had her on the episode, Kayla Melvogue. She's one of my coaching team. I've got on the ground support with Xenia. Dr. Daniel Kirkbride, who you guys might have seen in my IG lives. You're going to see more of him. He's rehabilitated me the whole way through my back injury. He's still looking after me with Kayla on all of my programming and the things I've got to worry about as I work through my different trimesters. So I'm in the very best of hands, and I've literally just started working with an amazing sports dietitian who is taking my dietetic requirements for fertility and then into pregnancy now to being performance-based pregnancy. Get your head around that. So at the moment,
you are going next level. That's amazing.
Pregnancy. So, I'm not here to dick around. I'm not here, to catch spiders. I'm here to actually have a very healthy pregnancy followed by an incredible prep, right? So I'm not restricting anything. I'm not defining myself by weight on the scale, but I am trying to control the weight and limit it to the requirements only. But I'm factoring in that I might be growing some muscle, so therefore I might weigh a little bit more somewhere.
Of course you will.
Everything's
with the surplus. Naturally, surplus, you're gonna be building muscle, right? Like you're eating a surplus amount of food. You're trying to have a surplus amount of energy for your baby.
That's really hard. Surplus when you have restricted organ space and you have slow digestion. This is the thing with pregnancy, your digestion slows. So I have to literally graze like a big 200 kilo freaking bodybuilder would. Like I'm talking like all freaking day long I'm eating, but it's small meals to be able to actually get it in. Yeah.
Oh,
Because if
all
I
you do is
didn't
eat.
do that, I wouldn't be able to get it in. I would literally
Don't
be
most of you want to just be Allie right now, just be able to eat all day, every day? Like
I
some
don't
of you
know.
are in a deficit are probably like, Allie, you live the life.
Most people listening to this, though, when they think about being pregnant, they want to be that sun-kissed goddess bitch with a butt.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even
I don't want to
know
look
this
like that.
sun-kissed goddess that lives on the beach, slouching her belly. What is up with you Australians? Like,
mate,
what?
that's what
you
it's like.
talking
That's
about?
what it's like. You get. That's what it's like. And
I've never heard of such a thing.
I
I've
can
never
look
even
at
heard
them and be like,
of
you
a thing
look
here.
beautiful. I can say you look beautiful, but man, that ain't me right now. Like, I probably was that annoying chick back in my first pregnancy, but I'm definitely not now.
That is hilarious. I've never experienced, I guess, a bronzed
Oh my God. Have a look
baby.
at,
I don't know what to explain.
have a
when you
look,
said-
have a look at the Australian.
Oh no, babe, you guys are a
Australian
different
trainers.
breed. I already get it. You
crazy.
guys are just different breeds, okay?
Okay.
Like you guys are just
And
your
you
own
look at some of
phenomenons
these-
out there.
You look at some of
Okay.
these sites, there's these Australian-made maternity labels, right? So I put out a post and I got everyone to comment on brands that I should be looking at because everything's changed. In the last 10 years, there's so much more variety and options, and there's so much more that you can be, access to, right? So I got all these suggestions. So I'm actually armed with more than I knew before. And anyway, I'm looking at some of these pages and I'm like, bitch, please, you're a 6-foot model. You're a 6-foot tall model who's literally just got like, you put a bump suit on.
You put a bump, little fake bump.
You're actually pregnant. And they're
Yeah.
wearing these outfits where there is not an inch of fat on them anywhere, maybe between the ears, but
Is
definitely
it kind of like whenever those Instagram pages that put the fake butts in them and tell you it's a glute building workout, and it's like really
And
just
it's
a
like,
fake
be
booty.
right back. I'm gonna go get it injected on my lunch break. I'll come back.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
it's perfect, right? So that's what these pictures
man.
look like. And I'm looking at these labels going, I'm just laughing. I'm just having a good giggle going. So it's like Tinder swiping to whatever direction. You're like saying no to all these maternity outfits. You're like, that bitch isn't real. That's not a real pregnancy. She's just literally put a pillow up her like
She just put a pillow in her belly. Yep. Yeah.
And
yeah.
Sadly, I can understand why people, and in particular, impressionable young first-time mums would feel this pressure, right, to look a certain way throughout their pregnancy, because I think it's terrible marketing because it makes women feel like that's what they're going to be. I'm good because I can laugh at it, and I'm like, whatever.
I know, but you understand the human body, Allie. Like,
absolutely.
People that understand the way the body works and the way sometimes unrealistic, like Hollywood. Okay, sorry, Kim K, but your ass is fucking fake as fuck. Okay, so if we're going to be talking about like a fake booty, and they're gonna tell me I want Kim Kardashian's ass,
well, you got to go inject the hell out of it.
Sweetie, you're gonna have to go get a butt. Like, exactly, you're gonna go get like butt implants and stuff, like there's really nothing you're gonna make yourself look like that, but when we're thinking about, just like you're referring to, marketing on social media or just on regular media and channels, not just social, like if we're thinking of marketing on a website, they're gonna be marketing to sell their product, and in order to really sell that product, they're gonna make that person look like they're pregnant, or like they have big glutes, or have big muscles, whatever it is that they're trying to sell you. So please do not fall for like just the most stupid and most, to me, they're just the ickiest style of marketing techniques, because whenever they put the fake butt implants or a fake belly in their freaking stomach, that is just petty. Like that is just honestly next level type of shady. Like that is horrible.
It's what messes with people's head when they
But it does, and people believe it.
Trying to grow or trying to focus on the health of their baby over
same with fake butts, y'all. Like all your Instagram models that you're following, and you're like, oh my God, I want those glutes, I want that butt, and you're like, oh, I wish they're never turning like that. And in reality, this model you're following, they have implants. Come on, like
injected. It's not.
You do not need to fantasize on these glutes and building these glutes that you are getting injected or putting as implants. So please be aware of these things and know that sizes, numbers, all these things don't own you. They definitely don't. And you have to really ground yourself to know, are you improving? Am I doing everything that it takes to actually add on more muscle? I'm eating more, right? I'm, lifting more. I'm actually growing in size, maybe circumference, not necessarily your actual size and clothes. That's going to help you tremendously as far as, keeping tabs of your progress, not just thinking that, your sizing in your, clothing, or even the weights, on the scale is going to, dictate just your progress. So make sure you're taking those measurements, getting different clothes, making yourself fit into the clothes, not the clothes fit you. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just kind of a very big thing that we're always looking to like fit into the certain clothes, right? Like,
and I think
we make them fit us.
Remember your why, what you're doing, what the purpose is, what the end goal is, and it's going to help you continue to stay on the path of consistency towards that, rather than this, roller coaster ride of highs and lows that people go on. But I hope that has helped. And what I would love to see, because I think this would be a bit of fun, I'd love to see everyone share or post about their actual off season. I want to hear it. Yeah, I want to see it. I want to, give me the start of the off season to now, give me the last season to now, and
you know what, Ali? I will share it just because you said that. I'm like, 100%. You know what? I don't think I've shared where I'm currently at the moment. Yep. So I'm going to share the climax of my build. And I want all of you to follow, and then just make sure that you don't feel yourself in a certain way, that you have to fit to society or a certain look, because I understand that, especially when you're on a platform or if you're putting it on social to just stay accountable. It is scary. Fuck, it's always scary, right? Like, you're like, oh my God, this is the real, like, this is really what's happening. I'm sharing it with everybody.
That's how I feel every week when I have to do my weekly update with my belly bump. I'm like, oh my God, here we go.
You look awesome, though. I know it's probably more internal for you, but I love seeing your growth. Like, I love seeing the belly bump, and like,
I'm actually super enjoying my process so far. Like, there's not like I had tremendously bad morning sickness, but even then I didn't hate on it. You know what I mean? I didn't hate on the journey. I'm
embrace it. You're embracing it this time. That's amazing. Yeah. And so all of you that are either, going through a pregnancy or you're following a fitness journey, whether if you're in a surplus or a deficit, embrace the journey. That's the biggest takeaway we can really give you today, is embrace the journey. Don't let numbers dictate you and make you own you. Make sure you're taking stats in all different forms, performance, your pictures and your weight, and of course your measurements, to make sure things are getting aligned along the way, but not one of them own you.
Share. We want to see.
Share. Yes. Share.
You might share the before after, but you might also share like something funny where it's about something hitting you and changing into a new size. Or more importantly, maybe you share a challenge you've had in this journey so far, because that would be really cool too. But I promise anyone that shares anything and tags me, I'm going to share you across my stories as well. I know Steph will do the same. But we would love to see it, because this is a bigger deal for most people than people think. And it's the one thing that if you don't get this right, if you don't immerse yourself in it and let go to it, you will ceiling yourself. You'll put a restriction on your potential.
Yep. So if you buy some new clothes, tag Ali and I, you upsize your
my big girl pants.
Yes, you got some bigger pants. You actually
I will promise to tag yourself. Steph, she can share my big girl pants day when I go in and get my big stretchy let out. And it's not, I can't even say it's because I've had a good meal and I'm just letting the belt out, right? It's just,
I'm going to let out a secret. I've been actually shopping some different maternity joggers, because those are the most comfortable joggers I've ever had in my life. This is
a good case of one of your best mates having a sympathy pregnancy moment for you.
I'm just like, I need all the brands you've been buying, Ali. I had no idea I was obsessed with maternity pants until this building phase that I just had, that I've been buying new clothes. And I'm like, wait, I didn't even realize I literally bought some, I went to Marshall's. I don't know if you guys are here. I don't know if you guys have Marshall's out there. It was like TJ Maxx and stuff. So anyway, I went and bought some stuff because I knew I needed some new wardrobe. And I'm like, tried on these pants and these were joggers. And I just thought they were the most comfortable thing. I bought them. And it wasn't until I got home that I realized I was taking off the tabs. I was taking off the tags, you know, for buying them. Then I'm like, holy shit, I just bought maternity pants. Like, what the fuck? Like, what did I just do? And I swear to you, they're my favorite pants at the moment. Like, they're my favorite joggers.
I love it.
They were the most comfortable thing. So anyways, I don't know if I'm just sharing a tip. I'm not pregnant. I'm just saying it's my favorite.
When in doubt, when
just laying it out there.
Go maternity. Fuck.
They weren't in the maternity side though, Allie. They were just in the regular freaking sports apparel. I don't know. Anyway, so hey, explore that. Let us know how you feel as far as in your bigger clothes. Share, tag us. And, you know, really, really make sure you look at yourself in a different way from performance, not just a aesthetic. I think that's one of the biggest things Allie and I really focus on, especially during the phase we're currently on. So yeah, it's exciting to have you guys on this journey with us. So share, let us know what you guys
I'm glad we got to share a completely different moment for both of us, right? Because I think people are so used to hearing us talk about stage and cutting and this and that.
Yeah, like, be more motivational.
No, now we're talking about our baseball pants. Like, it's great. I love it.
Let it loose, y'all. Let it out.
Open your pants. Open them up. We hope you all enjoyed today's session. As we said, we'd really love to hear from you. So please share, tag us all. And we hope you look forward to the next episode as much as we do. Love chatting to you, Steph. I'll speak to you.
Love you, Allie. Take care, babe. Love you guys. See y'all next time.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Queen Divas, Queens of Fitness podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Queen Divas Pod, on Twitter at Queen Divas 4, and follow our hosts on Instagram, Alicia at Alicia Gowans _WBFF Pro, and Steph at Stephanie Ayala 7. See you all next week.